Thank you very much once again for coming. Sir is coming from Ahmedabad just for me.
So good morning to all of you. It's a real pleasure to meet many of you from this college. I thank the Dean, Madam Dikshit Madam, for having invited me, Yashwant Bhai for having invited me to talk to you all for the next few minutes. And I would be talking to you on the disruptions that's happening in the Indian pharma industry and how we as an Indian company would maneuver the same. Being alumni of SIS, not from this campus, but from the Sion campus, and that gives me a lot of happiness also to come down here and talk to you all. I've been a part of the NIPER Ahmedabad as well as the Hyderabad branch for their course evaluation and as well as an external examiner for them and also as a guest faculty. Corona Remedies, I would like to talk to you, is the youngest pharma company in the bandwagon of 1,000 plus pharma companies in the industry. When I joined this company, I think the turnover was 20 crores, we were around 250th ranked company. Didn't have a presence, didn't have accruals in business. Whatever little money we had, we used to expand. We used to see people and then expand business. So if you get a good guy in the market, then the market used to expand. That's how, and the money was very limited. So, and the owners being good people, used to keep 2 months deposit in the bank, saying that kuch ho jaye to band ho jaye to 2 mahine tak to salary de sakte hain. Correct? And that's how the company began with few division operations. Very, very happy to tell you we've been listed in the IPO, both in the NSE and the BSE. And we have given the investor 50% return on the first day. So we opened the IPO at 1,060 book price and we gave 1,550 on the same day when the market opened for us. And we're the first pharma company or the first company in the NSE to have been listed as MSME in the outside Mumbai in Ahmedabad, because that's again a history in the National Stock Exchange. They were not allowing us to go into the, they wanted us to be in Mumbai. And we said, no, Mumbai is very small for us. We need people of ours who have been there with us from day one to actually witness this glorious moment, because it happens once in a lifetime. And we had 1,000 plus people in a hall. And the NSE chairman flew down to Ahmedabad to actually felicitate us and get into the IPO segment. This is what Corona Remedies is about. We are the fastest growing pharma company for the last few years. We are currently 27th in the Indian pharma market on a MAT basis and 26th as far as the month is concerned in February. The reasons for the growth of the organization is domestic business. We are predominantly a domestic focused pharma business. I head the business for the entire organization and also take care of the HR functions of the factory, corporate as well as the field. This is the business model that's evolving, and as Rangnikar sir told, there's a lot of uncertainties which are coming through. And the uncertainties are going to increase as the world is becoming more selfish. People fight for oil, people fight for whatnot, people fight for currency, and so on and so forth. And ultimately, when a country like India, which doesn't do anything like he told, we are nowhere involved in any of the situation but bear the brunt of it. Because everything that we export or we import from outside is all through a transportation mode, that is the logistics. And logistics plays a very, very important role in the business. So I'll be dwelling on logistics. I'll be dwelling on the global scenario of the Indian pharma industry and how we got affected through the global uncertainties that's happening in the VUCA world. And also I'll be talking to you about, in brief, on how we have done in Corona and how we have progressed as an organization. So next few slides of mine are very, very few in numbers, and unlike Meghnathan, I have not used pictorial presentations, but I have thought that I should put some brief points and talk to you about it. The first problem that we are facing in the year 2026 is the geopolitical situation. The countries which are directly involved in the war, the countries which are indirectly involved in the war. And unfortunately for us as an Indian pharma market, 70% of the API consumption still happens from China. China is silent at the moment, so India is not getting affected much. But indirectly, there's a lot of war situation that's getting created, and because of which the raw material prices have really undergone a huge shift, like Ramnikar was telling about paracetamol. From nowhere, the price went 4 times or 5 times than what they were buying. That creates a direct impact because the government regulates certain products, which are the DPCO products, and when regulations are in place, you don't have much WPIs happening. It's only 0.47, sir, if I'm right, this year. And every time you have a 10% salary rise in the business. 0.64. It was 0.4 last year. I think one year before 10% कुछ मिल गया था नसीब की वजह से. So, but then the price rises have been very limited in DPCO products, and hence the margin crunch is the biggest challenge that the Indian pharma market is currently facing. And we can't increase the MRP because we are regulated by the government on not doing many of the products where we are not able to increase our MRPs. Tariffs, the second international business challenge that happens is the tariffs. Every developed country or a developing country is trying to build their own resources. Developed countries have a lot of environmental protection parameters, and hence they don't go for huge infrastructure cost in terms of manufacturing. But underdeveloped countries, so a country very neighboring to us like Nepal or a country which is Sri Lanka, they are all becoming self-dependent. They have plants of their own in the business, and hence earlier exports that used to happen from India has reduced a lot. And that's the biggest challenge that the neighboring countries or the developing countries are giving to the Indian pharma market. So tariffs, and plus the US, every time they keep talking, they increase by 5x times, they reduce to 25%, then bring it down to 10%, then again increase to 50%. It's all very cynical, but it happens, and that's a bigger challenge that India faces, especially for those companies which are very high in dependence as far as the international business is concerned. Luckily for us, we are 97% domestic and only 3% international. We are just about to enter the international market, and such situations have arisen. So we put ourselves 2 steps back on that. So tariffs is one. Third is the global economic situation. I'm sure that you know the dollar prices have been fluctuating. Everyone is trying to make their own currencies bigger. And Indian rupee has always maintained itself on a low basis. Wherever, whether yuan comes up or dollar comes up or any other currency comes up, euro comes up, Indian currency always goes down. So current dollar price around 92, I think so. So from 82 some 6 months back, it's come down to 92. It's 15% rise. And every time this rise happens, there is a situation which is created, which is direct impact on the business, because India also deals in export through dollars. And hence, the price to the business also is something which we need to look at. That's one more challenge that's happening currently. And we call ourselves India the pharmacy of the world. We call ourselves India as the pharmacy of the world because, as Rangnekar sir told, 40% of Indian generics is coming from the country to the world, both the developing, underdeveloped, and the developed, the country itself. 40% is the consumption of generic. 60% of the vaccines, including UNICEF, they buy the vaccines from us. So vaccine consumption is very, very high across the world. We were pioneers when COVID-2 happened, and we were able to generate vaccines, COVID-1. Many of our vaccines got exported internationally, and we created a name for ourselves in the scenario of vaccine world. So India is known as a country which gives good quality products. But 2 years hence or back, India had its challenges of quality being an issue, and many of my friends who are in US, who used to buy Indian generics, always used to tell us that, 2 years back this thing happened, there was death reports on a cough syrup, which is a palliative therapy. On this, there was a lot of hue and cry raised, and the government really put itself on front foot. Schedule M plans started happening, and government put a very strong, resilient move of telling, putting up for us PIS schemes and a lot of other things. and trying to build the domestic market into a quality conscious market, the Indian pharma industry to be a quality conscious business so that the world recognizes us back again. And in these last 2 years, the government has taken a lot of initiatives. We have been finding a lot of plants getting closed down which were non-scheduled plants, and government has given a lot of help as far as monetary soft loans are concerned, but nevertheless there are some people who don't want to expand. But very happy to tell you we have more than 10,000 WHO GMP plants currently in the country which are actually operational. And 1,000 of them are US FDA, PICS or Europe approved plants. We also have 2 plants which are Europe approved and 1 WHO GMP plant from where we manufacture our product and we consume it in the country, and 3% we export it to the world. So let's see how the challenges will get converted into opportunity. The best part about the Indian pharma market and the agencies which have been rating India or the domestic businesses have been telling a 10% CAGR for the next 15 years at least. So till 2040, we are resilient as far as the growth of Indian pharma market is concerned. There are a lot of reasons to it: the urban-rural divide, the patient awareness in terms of understanding a disease pattern, change in the disease pattern, which is leading to more evolution of newer drugs, and that has actually helped the business grow, and it continues to grow. February was a very, very good number for the IPM. 12% growth, chronic business is growing by 14% as Rangnekar sir was telling. I mean, the growth of chronic business is what is evolving the Indian pharmaceutical industry. So that's a positive point as far as the domestic business is concerned. And we are very, very positive as a company because we grow 2 times that of the domestic business in India. Government regulators are trying to build world-class quality, as I told you. There are new plants coming up. In the presentations earlier, you have seen again Rangnekar sir talking about R&D facility, which they are upcoming facilities. Government is giving a lot of advantages to the pharma industry to actually open up new plants, world-class plants, because we see in the next 10 years, it's India which is going to dominate the world. It's not China which will dominate the world. And I think that's a very positive impact both in the entrepreneur's mind who are actually operating the businesses in India, and the aggressiveness or the enthusiasm or the energy which Meghanathan was talking about, not only on the field, but also in the mind of the entrepreneur to actually take this business across to the next level. And hence, government regulations will support world-class quality plants. World-class quality plants would lead to India being one of the most biggest exporter of finished formulations, APIs, and intermediates, and so on and so forth. So this projected double-digit growth gives us a lot of resilience, as well as we feel very happy that the Indian market is evolving itself very, very fast. And there are a lot of therapy areas which are newer therapy areas which is coming, like oncology is one. There are rare diseases which were rare earlier but not so rare now, are again a big market which the Indian pharma industry is looking at. And as the consumer market is increasing, the OTX market also is shaping up very, very well as far as the business is concerned. So these are leading to the growth of the Indian pharma market. API self-reliance we have been talking about, though I told you that 60 to 70% is still China, but I'm very sure that in the next 10 years, there will be companies which will take steps to ensure that we are, as a company, look into the domestic API business as one of the major factors for growth. 2,000 plus WHO GMP plants, 1,000 plus US FDA PICS approved plants, and that's what is leading India to be a global player in the pharma market of the world. As I told you, generic leadership, 20% supplies to the world, vaccine, 60% supplies, $30 billion exports have crossed as far as the Indian numbers are concerned. 200 countries we supply to. We have R&D which also reverse engineers. For instance, semaglutide, a drug which recently went off patent. Companies have been working on it for last few years, and this time the government was very clear that without a clinical trial and a bioequivalence study, they would not allow the brand to be launched in the country. And that's also a very, very positive move, and yet 70 brands have been launched. So obesity is the new market. The trend of the market is shifting from obesity to oncology drugs and to cosmetology. These are few branches which are really emerging very, very fast. And with chronic disorders increasing, the cardiovascular business, the nephrology business, and so on and so forth are actually fueling the growth of the Indian pharma market. Never do we expect or feel that a person should go sick. That's not the intention of a marketeer or a business owner to actually promote a product. But when there is a situation where we can give better drugs and we can take away patencies, and this year there are 6 to 7 molecules which are going off patent in 2026, and Indian companies have already started working on the genericization of these products. Now, the quality of the product, because it's bioequivalent, will really stand the test of time, and I'm sure that companies which are really aggressive will progress as far as the reverse engineering of molecule is concerned. We are experts in that. So this sums up my presentation as far as adversities were concerned. I talked to you about adversities in terms of the dollar fluctuation prices. I talked to you about geopolitical war situations and lot of other factors which are impacting the business, including the quality of the products some 2 years back. And I also told you about the opportunity that's going to exist in the near future. And as the leading pharma company in India, we are very resilient as far as growths are concerned. We have really focused on 3 or 4 therapies. I would just like to put a point on mergers and acquisitions as well, because this is one topic where we have been very, very successful. Not only grown organically by around 14 to 15%, but also have acquired brands from leading multinational companies. We started this exercise way back in 2016 with the acquisition of certain portfolios which were redundant for a multinational company. Glaxo, Vitnurin, Stelbid and Dilosin from them, and we turned that brand into 100 crores plus brand. Then the second acquisition that we did was with Abbott. Abbott had 2 brands of glimepiride metformin. It was again a dustbin product for them. I had personally gone to sign the deal, and the MD of the company, after the money was transferred, actually told me that it's a dustbin product, you wouldn't be able to pick up more than 2-3 crores a year. It was very difficult to digest because we had paid a huge amount. At that point of time, we didn't have money. So we went back and reworked the strategies. We started focusing on the molecule. Very, very happy to tell you that market is growing only by almost 1% today, the glimepiride metformin market, and we are growing at 42%. Okay, and gained a sizable number also. We are crossing 100 crores this year. This was the second acquisition. The third acquisition happened with Sanofi, which is Mayoril. Mayoril is a class of drug which is basically for spasm, muscular spasm. And Sanofi is a company which was promoting Mayoril across the world. This is the third acquisition that we did. Mayoril was a 28 crores brand. We acquired in September 2023. And we knew there was a company called UNS which was dependent on Mayoril as major bread and butter for their salaries. And hence, while we gave the money in July to the company, we actually commercialized the brand only in September because we didn't want that company people to suffer. Meanwhile, 2 months was given for them to actually look for a product and start building up their portfolio. And hence, we paid the money and we did not market the product. So that also talks about humanness in business. Let me tell you that blessings of those people around who are working for that company maybe has given us a brand today which is in just 2 years time 100 crores brand. From 28 crores to 100 crores. That's the third brand acquisition. The fourth acquisition that we did was with Bayer. Bayer had a portfolio of a lot of infertility products like Manodac, Ovidac, Fostine and so on and so forth, including Noclot, which is their antiplatelet agent. They were not selling this product 2 years back. They got a global mandate, and many of the multinational companies, as far as genericization is concerned, are getting global mandates to sell off their brands. We took this as an opportunity, took that brands from them, launched an infertility division, and started gaining success in that infertility business as well. And I'm very happy to share you that we launched this business somewhere in April, and this is the first month of launch. Soft launches were somewhere in January. And the divisions have already crossed 2.5 crores a month, that is 30 crores business a year. Very, very small team of 50 people. Similarly, the fifth acquisition which just happened last week, we all involved very busily into that because we had an international trip for our teams as well. So we closed the deal on March 30th for one of the leading povidone-iodine brands. After Betadine, the second biggest brand is Vocardin, and we purchased Vocardin just recently. The commercialization is to take place, and I'm sure I think the success is not about acquiring brands. The success is not about growing organically. The success is all about the teams. We have 4,000 plus people working in our factory, in the field, and all of them. I think the commitment level, what Meghanathan was talking about, the energy, not only on the field to promote a product to a doctor, even the plant guy should have an emotional pharmacopoeia attached to it. He should understand that if he's going to make a medicine, that quality should be such that he should be able to give to his family members and himself. I think if that is the mindset of a worker on the production floor, I'm sure that India will become the pharmacy of the world, which we always talk on paper, Viksit Bharat 2047. A lot of words are being told as far as the government is concerned, but all that can become actionable if that emotional pharmacopoeia is maintained, and you all are going to be a party to it, because as the years go by, some will go into production, some will go into marketing, some will go into a lot of other branches. But wherever you go, I think that commitment to give high quality product and genuine communication to the customer is very, very important. With this, I would like to sign off, and I'm very sure that this is my alma mater, Professor Neelakantan, who was the founder, one of the founders. His son and I have been in the same classroom, sharing a bench with each other for 10 years. So I used to come when there was only a brick and mortar, and there was still not, the college not getting incepted. And luckily, I was also in SIS, SIAM. And incidentally, V. Shankar sir, who is the current one of the trustees or president of this institute, also happened to be my first person in Crosslands when Crosslands was at its very big phase in dermatology, Mr. Ramurthy and Mr. Shankar, both of them. So it's a very, very proud moment for me as a whole to come to this institute, a very, very reputed institute. You're all putting all efforts, the dean is really putting a lot of efforts to ensure that this institute becomes the best. And I'm sure that all of you will not leave any stone unturned to ensure that when you go into the pharma world, you become the best of the people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It is really good to have you with us. And taking this opportunity ahead, I would like to call our director, ma'am, and Dr. Amit Rangnekar, sir, to kindly felicitate our keynote speaker for his outstanding contribution.
It's our privilege.